So hi guys, in the previous video we have learned about character blocks, numbers and date payload types. So in this video we will be learning about brute forcer, null payloads and character prober. So let's move on to brute forcer. So this payload type lets generate payloads of specified length that contain all permutation of specified character set. The following options are available: character set, the set of character to be used in payloads. Note that the total number of payloads increases exponentially with the size of the list. Minimum length, the length of the shortest payload. Maximum, the length of longest payload. So let's move on to the Burp Suite for the practical uses. So let's see. We have already have example the request and we have named it as the lecture. So let's move on to the payload positioning. So we have payload type as brute forcer. Okay. So in the character set you can see we have almost all the characters like A to Z and 0 to 9. So these are all are the basically the same ABCD and number system. Okay, so let's see. If I just start this, you will see the payload is started and the payload starting with A to Z, then 0 to 9. Then they started making the permutations with A to Z and 0 to 9. Okay, so that's how they are going. So let's see. So what is the minimum length? So you can see if we have A, B, C and 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we want a permutation with the permutation should contain 2 positioning and 4 positions. So first of all, what we can create is A1 A. Okay, we can create double A, double B, double C, 1 1, 2 2, 3 3, and then A1, B1, C1. Okay, like this and so on. It will be keep going until all the character has been used and all the permutations has been completed. Okay, so that's how this works. So this is the position character length. Okay, so like how longer this character should be: A, B, C in 1, A, B, C, D. This will be the length of the character, oh, the word that will be created with that permutation. Okay, so let's see the Burp Suite. So as you can see in this we have A to Z and 0 to 9 and the minimum length is 1. So if we start the attack you can see the minimum length is 1 and maximum length can be 4. Okay, and the number of permutation that can be created with this is 1,72,000. I think this is 17,27,604. So if I create something like this, I just delete this. Okay, I don't want to create a permutation of this much. I just want to create permutation of this. This is like the permutations are only these. So if I start with this, the first they will create all of these and then they will create something like this. Okay, so they will keep creating until they just complete all of the permutations. Okay, so that's how the permutation brute forcer works with the permutation. It can be used for creating username suggestions, and if you are attacking on something with the password list or anything, you just want to brute force something, you can use the brute forcer. Okay, so let's move on to the next one, that is null payload. This payload type generates payload whose value is an empty string. Okay, the value is nothing, just an empty string. Okay, the payload type is useful when an attack requires the same request to be made repeatedly without any modification to the basic template. This can be used for the variety of attacks, for example harvesting cookie for sequence analysis, application layer denial of service attack where requests are repeatedly sent which initiate high workload tasks on the server, or keeping alive a session token that is being used in the terminated test. With this payload, it can be not even necessary to use payload position marker in your request template. You can configure Burp to generate specific number of null payload or to continue indefinitely. So let's move on to the Burp Suite. So I just select the null payload type and we have the same request. Okay, so you can see we have selected a position here. So we don't even need to select the position to start this attack. Okay, so if we choose any other type of payload types, you just need to configure a payload positioning. okay, where you want to put your payloads. But with this payload type, you don't even need to select that position. Okay, so we have selected this position. Let's see what will happen. Okay, so as you can see, we have only one function, that is generate 50 payloads. Like I put this number, it will be blank. You can put anything like 100. So you can create the 100 payloads like this. So if I start this, you can see the first payload, the first basic template contained this number as in the place of payload positioning, and the second one is null. Okay, so there is nothing on the place of that. Okay, because we have selected that, and then we have started with the null payload type, and that's why the payload is null. Okay, so let's complete this. If I click on continuous indefinitely, the payload count will be unknown because it will not stop after 100,000 or anything. It will keep going on. Okay, so that's how this will work. If I start this, you will see this. It's keep going on. Okay, it will not stop anywhere. It just complete this line, then it will again start this line from starting. You can see. So that's how this works with the continued indefinitely. Even if I just clear all the payload positioning and start the payload, start the attack, you can see we have the same number here. Okay, so that's how the null payload system work. It can be used to contain like cookie harvesting. You want to collect more cookies from the system, or if you want just a token that is being used in the background, like you are attacking two attacks similarly, and one attack wants the value of the other. It can be used for the something like cookie harvesting, and also for the keeping an token alive. Like you are keep sending the request, the token will be like, if you don't log in something and you just keep on the login page, it will like time out something or something else. Okay, if you just try to do some task on a system and you don't do that task for 10 minutes or something like that, so that system will log out block that token. Okay, so in these cases you can use this type of payload types to keep the tokens or harvest cookies. Okay, so that's all about the null payload. Let's move on to the character forward. This payload type operates on a string input and modifies the value of each character position in turn. It can operate on existing base value of each payload position or on a specific string. It circles through the base string one character at a time, incrementing the ASCII code of that character by 1. This payload type is useful when testing which parameter value or part of value have an effect on application response. In particular, it can be useful when testing which part of complex session token are actually being used to track session state. It modifies the value of individual character within the session token. Still cause request to be processed within your session, then it's likely to be the character in the token is not actually being used to track your session. So let's see this one. So just I select the character prober, and position is, I just select a position. Okay, so I just select the same position. So if I start this, okay, if let's suppose I just start this tag, so what will happen? Okay, so you can see the standard was this. Okay, on the first, without, you can see this was the string there. Okay, and in the next you can see on the place of A there is a B. Okay, because the payload type increases the ASCII value of that characters, okay, in that string, so by 1. Okay, not all, by 1. Like in first they have increased the A into B, and then they changed A B into A again, that undo thing, and then M into N. Okay, they increase the value of M by 1 and it will be N. Then they change like A, M, and P is into Q. So that's how the attack going on and working till now. Okay, so if I just close this one, okay, so that's how the character forward works. It can be used to like there are sometimes the long length of strings that can be used in cookie tokens and many other like authorizations and user strings or auth strings. Okay, so when you are testing with these type of strings, you sometimes find the like you want to find where is the character that is more useful for that token, okay, for that string. So you can use these type of payload types for checking that character. Okay, if you increase the value of that character that is useful, then there will be a difference in request. Okay, if you don't increase the value of that character, like there are 36 or 42 or anything like 64 characters, if you increase the value of first 10, or there can be no difference in that, so you know there is no work of that first 10 characters. Okay, so that's how this works. If I select on specific string, and specific string, I just write it ABC, ABD, anything. Okay, so you can see we can change with the ABD. You can also change the strings with this. Okay, so you can put your specific string and change the values of that string. Okay, so that's how this character forward works. So that's all about this video. In the next video we will be working on bit flipper, username generator, and ECB block shuffler. So thank you guys.